shadow of a dying sun. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, and the quiet murmur of the river whispered through the reeds. An old man, his face a map of countless seasons, leaned close to the trembling child beside him. His voice was a rough whisper, yet heavy with warning. Never go near the sacred lake at dusk, for the crocodile god watches. The child's eyes widened. Fear mingled with curiosity, but the elder said no more, letting the mystery linger like mist over the water. But this was not just a tale to frighten children. Across the vast expanse of Africa, the land pulses with ancient stories where animals are far more than mere creatures. They are gods, guardians, tricksters, and judges, beings whose presence stretches beyond the physical world and into the realm of the divine. Each river, each forest, each mountain holds a spirit, and more often than not, these spirits wear the faces of animals. Why do these animals command such sacred power? What makes them vessels of the divine, feared, revered, and worshipped across a continent of countless cultures? For the people who have called this land home for millennia, animals are not just companions of the earth. They are windows to the supernatural. The mighty crocodile, whose scales gleam like armored prophecy, is not just a beast lurking in the waters. It is the judge of souls, a divine force that punishes liars and protects the sacred. The lion is not merely a predator. It is the embodiment of kingship, its roar a declaration of divine right. The serpent slithers through the grass, but beneath its scaled skin coils the wisdom of rebirth and the mystery of creation itself. This is the sacred world of African cosmology, where the mundane and the mystical are one. Here, stories are not just told. They are lived, etched into the memory of mountains and whispered by the winds. They are carried by elders who have seen the shadows move and heard the whispered warnings. In this journey, we will travel to the sacred lakes where crocodiles reign, to the roaring plains of the Lion Kings, and to the dark forests where the leopard prowls unseen. We will unveil the sacred animal gods of Africa, where myths are not just stories. They are the breath of life itself. The mist hung heavy over the sacred lake of Mamiwata, its waters dark and still, a mirror that seemed to hold the secrets of the world. To the villagers who lived along its banks, this lake was no ordinary body of water. It was a threshold, a place where the seen and unseen met, where whispers of the divine stirred beneath the surface. Children were warned never to swim too far, never to disturb the stillness, for beneath the murky depths lay the watchful gaze of the crocodile god, the judge of souls. Legends tell of the sacred lake, a place where liars met their doom. It was said that those who approached the waters with deceit in their hearts would find the surface calm at first, the silence almost welcoming. But should they lie to their elders, to the spirits, or even to themselves, the lake would stir. A ripple would form, then another, until the water seemed to boil. And from beneath, the massive form of the crocodile god would rise. With jaws that snapped like the thunderclap of judgment, it would drag the guilty down into the depths, their screams swallowed by the darkness. Only the truthful, the pure of heart, could return unharmed. The villagers spoke of the lost souls, of the desperate screams cut short, and of the bubbles that marked the lake's surface. Fleeting evidence of a life weighed and found wanting. But this is more than just a tale of fear. The crocodile's role as judge is rooted deep in African spirituality. Across the vast continent, from the tranquil waters of West African rivers to the mighty Nile, the crocodile is seen as a symbol of divine judgment and wisdom. Its ancient, unblinking gaze, hardened by the passage of ages, has always seemed to peer beyond the surface of mere flesh, seeing the truth that lies beneath. It is a creature that embodies both life and death, a predator whose patient stillness is matched only by the sudden violence of its strike. In the spiritual beliefs of many African cultures, water is sacred, a source of life, a cleansing force, and a portal to the spirit world. Rivers and lakes are seen as gateways to the divine, and it is here, in these sacred waters, that the crocodile reigns. But the crocodile is not merely a monster, it is a protector of the sacred. At the banks of certain holy lakes, elders would feed these sacred crocodiles, whispering prayers of protection and offering sacrifices to ensure the village's safety. Crocodiles were believed to be the guardians of ancestral spirits, and their presence was a reminder of the thin line between the world of the living and the realm of the divine. In ancient Egypt, the great river Nile itself was home to Sobek, the crocodile god, a deity of fertility, strength, and protection. Sobek was not only a fierce guardian, but also a provider, a god who ensured the annual floods that brought life to the fields. In the waters of West Africa, the crocodile is linked to Mami Wata, the water goddess who is both beautiful and terrifying. Her divine presence marked by the silent glide of the crocodile beneath the surface. To revere the crocodile is to understand that judgment is not simply punishment, it is balance. It is the understanding that one's actions have consequences, that the waters of life are both a blessing and a test. The crocodile god's gaze is not just a threat, it is a mirror reflecting the truth of one's soul. And so the villagers continued to tell the tale of the sacred lake, of the wise and terrible guardian beneath the water. It was a tale of fear, yes, but also of wisdom, for in the stillness of the lake, one could see more than just a reflection. One could glimpse the truth that lies beneath. The sun blazed fiercely over the golden savanna, casting long shadows that danced in the dry grass. In this vast, open land, power was not a gift, it was earned. And none understood this better than the great lion, Simba Mfalme, the Lion King. His mane flowed like a crown of living fire, and his roar was a thunder that silenced the plains. Yet his legend was not merely that of a beast who ruled by might. Simba Mfalme was the savior of his people, a king whose courage burned brighter than the noonday sun. The legend begins in a time of darkness, when the land groaned beneath the weight of a tyrant, a cruel warlord who saw himself as an immortal god. His armies ravaged villages, his shadow stretched across the land, and hope seemed a distant memory. But one night, beneath a moon that glowed like silver fire, the elders gathered, whispering prayers to the ancestors, pleading for deliverance. And it was in the heart of the savannah, beneath the star-filled sky, that their prayers were answered. The winds stirred, the grasses parted, and out of the darkness stepped Simba Mfalme. His eyes burned with fierce wisdom, and his roar shattered the silence. He was not merely an animal, he was a force of nature, a living symbol of kingship. As the tale goes, Simba Mfalme did not march to battle alone. The lion called forth the animals of the savannah, the swift cheetahs, the cunning jackals, the mighty elephants. Together they became an army, a force driven not by hunger or bloodlust, but by the spirit of liberation. When the tyrant's army approached, their weapons gleaming in the harsh light, they were met by a wall of fur and fang, claw and courage. Simba Mfalme charged, his roar a rallying cry, and his pride followed. The tyrant's men faltered, their courage crumbling beneath the thunder of hooves, the flashing claws, and the wrath of the Lion King. The tyrant, so full of his own pride, found himself face to face with Simba Mfalme. The battle was brief. One slash, a final roar, and the darkness was lifted. The people were free. But beyond the legend of Simba Mfalme, the lion has always been more than just a beast in African culture. Across the continent, the lion is the symbol of courage, strength, and divine authority. To wear the skin of a lion, to stand beneath the banner of a lion's image, was to claim a right to rule. Ancient African kings adorned themselves with lion pelts, their crowns fashioned to resemble the mighty mane of the lion. In the kingdom of Benin, the Oba, or king, was seen as the living lion, his throne a symbol of divine right. In the Ashanti Empire, the golden stool, the soul of the nation, was said to be guarded by the spirit of the lion. The lion is more than a predator. It is a judge, a protector, a ruler. Its roar is the voice of authority, and its pride, a symbol of unity and family. Those who have seen a lion in the wild speak of a presence that is almost supernatural, a creature whose very gaze seems to pierce the soul. This majestic beast is a reminder that true kingship is not simply about power, but about responsibility, about the courage to protect, to lead, and to sacrifice for one's people. The tale of Simba Mfalme is not just a story of a great beast. It is a reflection of the kings who walked the earth with lion hearts. It is a reminder that in the heart of the savannah, beneath the endless sky, true power is not given. It is earned. It is defended with claws of courage and a roar of righteousness. And as long as the grasses dance in the wind, the legend of the Lion King will live on. A reminder that even in the darkest of times, courage can roar, and the light of justice can never be silenced. In the beginning, when the world was still young and the sky embraced the earth, there was a serpent, a great coiling force of life and wisdom. Its name was aido-hwedo, the sacred serpent of the Dahomey, and it was said to cradle the world within its immense shimmering coils. Aido-hwedo was not a mere snake slithering across the land. It was a cosmic being, a divine force that wove the fabric of existence itself. It moved through the heavens and beneath the earth, its body a bridge between the realms, its shimmering scales reflecting the light of creation. Wherever it passed, life sprang forth. Rivers flowed and mountains rose, for the serpent was the weaver of creation, the silent architect of all that is. The legend speaks of aido-hwedo's journey, a serpent so vast that it wrapped itself around the earth, protecting it from chaos. Its movements shaped the mountains, its breath brought the rains, and its gentle undulations carved the rivers that nourished the land. Yet, despite its immeasurable power, aido-hwedo was a guardian, not a tyrant. It was a being of balance, ensuring that life flourished but never fell into chaos. When the world grew too heavy with the burdens of life, aido-hwedo would descend beneath the earth, resting in the cool waters of the great abyss, coiled around the roots of the world, maintaining the delicate balance between creation and destruction. But aido-hwedo is just one of the many sacred serpents that slither through the mythology of Africa. The serpent has always been a symbol of life, death, and rebirth, a creature that sheds its skin and is born anew, a being that moves in silence, yet whose presence is felt like a whisper of eternity. In the beliefs of the Fon people of West Africa, the rainbow serpent aido-hwedo is both a creator and a protector, while in the cosmology of the Ashanti, the serpent is a guardian of sacred wisdom, a creature whose scales shimmer with ancient secrets. Across the waters, in the beliefs of the Caribbean and the Americas, the sacred serpent Damballa is worshipped as a god of life and purity. Often depicted as a great white snake, Damballa is the source of all wisdom, his silent presence a reminder of the divine nature of knowledge. He is a bringer of rain, a healer, and a guide to the spiritual world. His coils are said to encircle the world, and his breath brings the rain that nourishes the earth. To the faithful, the touch of Damballa is a blessing, his sacred presence a symbol of purity and divine insight. Further south, along the Zambezi River, the legend of Nyami, the river god, speaks of a great serpent that watches over the waters, its coiled form hidden beneath the depths. Nyami is a being of dual nature, both protector and destroyer. When the waters of the Zambezi rise in furious floods, it is said to be the wrath of Nyami, angered by those who have disturbed his sacred domain. But when the waters are calm and life flourishes along the banks, it is the blessing of the serpent god watching over his people. The serpent is a paradox, a creature that brings both life and death, wisdom and mystery. Its silent, sinuous movement is a reminder that true knowledge is not always loud, that truth is often hidden beneath layers, like the shimmering scales of a coiled snake. To revere the serpent is to understand that life is a cycle, a constant dance of creation, destruction, and rebirth. Those who honor the serpent honor this truth, the understanding that to live is to change, to transform, to shed the old and embrace the new. In the sacred groves where serpents are fed with milk, in the whispered prayers of the faithful who call upon Dambala or Nyami, and in the ancient stories of aido-hwedo cradling the world, the serpent remains a symbol of the eternal dance of life. For those who look upon its sinuous form, there is a reminder that wisdom is not always seen, but always felt, and that in the silent slither of the serpent, the truth of existence lies hidden. In the heart of the mist-shrouded forest, where sunlight pierced the canopy in narrow golden beams, there lived a creature known to all but seen by few, Koibumba, the divine leopard. His coat shimmered with golden rosettes, his eyes burned with an emerald fire, and his silent steps were a whisper on the wind. Yet Koibumba was not just a beast of flesh and bone, he was a spirit, a guardian of the sacred forest. For generations, the villagers spoke of him in hushed tones, for to see Koibumba was both a blessing and a warning. He was the silent watcher, the spirit that kept balance between the living and the shadows. The legend of Koibumba tells of a time when the sacred forest was threatened by a band of ruthless hunters. These men came with fire and steel, cutting paths through the ancient trees, slaughtering the animals without mercy. The elders pleaded with the hunters, warning them that the forest was sacred, but their words were met with laughter. That night, as the moon hung pale and silent above the treetops, the forest stirred. A shadow moved through the underbrush, silent and swift. One by one, the hunters vanished, their screams swallowed by the darkness. In the morning, only their scattered weapons remained, stained with blood, and the villagers knew Koibumba had awakened. But Koibumba was not just a creature of vengeance. He was a protector, a divine force that ensured the balance of life in the forest. For those who entered with respect, who gathered herbs for healing or offered prayers to the ancient trees, Koibumba was a guardian. The healers who ventured into the forest for sacred plants spoke of a silent presence watching over them, of glowing eyes that shimmered in the darkness, yet never attacked. Hunters who followed the old ways, who took only what they needed and offered thanks, found their paths blessed. But those who came with greed and malice soon learned that the forest had a soul, and that soul wore the fangs of Koibumba. The leopard, in many African cultures, is more than just a predator. It is a symbol of stealth, cunning, and divine protection. Its rosettes, like painted sigils on its coat, are said to be the mark of the gods, a reminder of its sacred nature. The leopard is a creature of shadows, a silent force that strikes without warning, and yet it is also a protector of sacred places, a guardian of the natural balance. In the kingdom of Benin, the leopard is a symbol of kingship, its image emblazoned on the royal throne, its fierce majesty a reflection of the Oba's divine authority. The Oba, the king, was seen as a living leopard, his strength and wisdom drawn from the sacred beast. But the leopard's nature is dual. It is both a protector and a predator, a creature of grace and of death. To some, it is a spirit that walks between the worlds, a being that protects the sacred groves and punishes the wicked. To others, it is a reminder of the price of arrogance, of the silent force that strikes from the shadows. Those who tell the tale of Koibumba speak of his golden eyes, of the way they seem to pierce the soul, of the whisper of his paws on the forest floor, and the terrible silence that followed. Yet Koibumba is not simply a beast of terror for those who honor the forest, who respect the balance of life. He is a silent guardian, a being who watches, who judges, but who also protects. The villagers still leave offerings at the edge of the forest, fresh meat, woven charms, whispered prayers, in the hope that Koibumba will watch over them. And sometimes in the quiet of dawn, when the mist rises from the forest floor and the sunlight dances through the leaves, a shadow can be seen slipping through the trees, a whisper of golden fur and emerald eyes. The villagers smile, knowing that Koibumba still walks the sacred forest, a silent shadow that guards the soul of the land. When the wind howled through the night and the moon hung like a silver coin in the sky, the villagers whispered of the creature that lurked beyond the fire's glow, the hyena. Its laughter echoed through the darkness, a haunting cackle that sent shivers down the spine. But in one village, cursed by famine and plagued by sickness, that laughter was not a sound of terror. It was a call of salvation. The elders spoke of the hyena's pact, a tale that began when the fields turned barren and the rivers ran dry. Desperation gripped the people, their cries of hunger rising to the heavens. In their despair, they sought the wisdom of the ancient shaman, who warned them that their suffering was the result of a broken bond with the spirits. Desperate and afraid, the villagers ventured beyond the edge of the village, into the wild lands where the hyenas roamed. There, beneath the ghostly light of the moon, they called out to the hyena god, known as Wepwawet, the opener of ways. And as the shadows thickened, a great hyena emerged, its fur black as night, its eyes glowing with an eerie amber light. The hyena did not snarl or charge. Instead, it spoke, a deep, rumbling voice that seemed to come from the earth itself. "Restore the balance," it commanded. "Respect the sacred places, honor the spirits of the land, and I will protect you." The villagers trembled, but they swore an oath, a sacred pact with the hyena god. From that night on, the hyenas became guardians of the village. They prowled the outskirts, their laughter a warning to evil spirits. When sickness threatened to return, the villagers would leave offerings at the village edge, a bowl of fresh meat, a whispered prayer, and the hyenas would come, devouring the offerings but leaving the village in peace. The famine ended. The fields turned green once more, and the river flowed. To the villagers, the laughter of the hyena was no longer a sound of dread, but a sign of protection. Yet the hyena has always been a creature of duality, a being caught between worlds. In many African myths, the hyena is both a trickster and a guardian, a creature of chaos and order. It is the one who laughs at the darkness, but also the one who walks beside it. To some, the hyena is a divine judge, a creature that punishes the wicked with cunning rather than brute force. In one tale, a proud and greedy merchant refused to share his wealth with the poor, claiming that his prosperity was a gift from the spirits. But one night, as he traveled alone, his path was blocked by a lone hyena. He laughed, thinking it a mere beast, but as he struck at it, the hyena spoke. "Greed is a hunger that devours the soul," it growled, and with a flick of its shadowed tail, the merchant's wealth turned to dust. In other stories, the hyena is an outcast, shunned by the other animals for its strange, unsettling laughter, for its scavenging ways. Yet even as an outcast, the hyena is never without purpose. In the tales of the San people of southern Africa, the hyena is a messenger of the gods, a creature that walks the line between the living and the dead, guiding lost souls and guarding the paths to the afterlife. But the true nature of the hyena lies in its unpredictability. It is a creature that embodies the thin line between order and chaos, a being that can be both savior and destroyer. Those who respect it know that the hyena's laughter can be a warning or a blessing, a reminder of the fragile balance of life. To some, it is a monster, a lurking shadow with sharp teeth and a mocking cackle. But to those who have known the darkness of despair and heard the laughter of salvation, the hyena is a protector, a reminder that even in chaos, there is a hidden wisdom. The villagers who remember the hyena's pact still leave offerings at the edge of the village. They listen for the laughter that rises with the wind, a sound that once brought fear but now brings comfort. For they know that somewhere in the shadows, the hyena god watches, its amber eyes glowing with the light of a promise kept. In the vast, golden expanse of the savannah, where the grass whispered in the wind and the great baobab trees stretched their ancient arms to the sky, there walked a king, a proud and noble ruler who led his people with courage but was lost in the maze of pride. His name was King Moana, and his kingdom was vast, his power unquestioned. But with each victory his heart grew heavy with arrogance, and his ears turned deaf to the cries of his people. His elders warned him, but he dismissed them with a wave of his jeweled hand. Wisdom seemed a distant whisper, lost beneath the roar of his pride. One night, as the moon bathed the plains in silver light, King Moana wandered alone, frustrated by the emptiness of his triumphs. In his solitude, he saw a massive shape emerge from the mist, a towering elephant, its tusks gleaming like twin blades of ivory, its eyes deep and calm as ancient pools. The king reached for his spear, but the elephant did not charge. Instead, it knelt before him, a gesture of humility so profound that the proud king felt a tremor in his soul. From the silent depth of the elephant's gaze, Moana felt the weight of ages, a wisdom older than kings, a strength that needed no roar to command. The elephant spoke, not with words, but with presence. It turned and walked, and the king followed through moonlit paths and shadowed groves, until they came to a hill that overlooked his kingdom. There, in the silence, the king saw his land, the fields tilled by weary hands, the rivers that quenched the thirst of his people, the fires that warmed the hungry. His pride melted beneath the cool night breeze, and humility bloomed in his heart. When the dawn broke, the elephant was gone, but the king returned a changed man. He ruled with wisdom and kindness, and his people flourished. In African cultures, the elephant is more than just a beast of the wild. It is a symbol of wisdom, royalty, and strength. Its towering form and measured steps reflect patience, while its gentle nature hides a formidable power. Kings and chiefs adorn themselves with elephant tusks, their thrones carved in the shape of the majestic beast. For to rule with the spirit of the elephant is to rule with wisdom, not just might. In many rituals, the elephant is honored as the embodiment of the ancestors, a guide to the living, a reminder that true strength lies in understanding, and that the greatest rulers are those who listen. In the dense emerald canopy of the Baul forest, where the sunlight danced in dappled patterns on the forest floor, there lived a monkey known as Nakama, the clever monkey. His fur was a warm chestnut brown, his eyes sparkled with a mischievous light, and his laughter echoed like the song of hidden streams. Nakama was no ordinary creature. He was a trickster, a spirit of wit and wisdom who wandered the forest, his cleverness matched only by his love of mischief. Yet beneath his playful antics lay a cunning that few could match, and those who underestimated him often found themselves outwitted in the most unexpected ways. The legend of Ncama tells of a time when the village of the Baul fell under the cruel rule of a greedy chief. This chief demanded the finest fruits, the freshest fish, and the most precious treasures from his people, leaving them hungry and poor. No one dared to challenge him, for his guards were fierce and his wealth seemed endless. But Ncama watched from the treetops, his sharp eyes taking in the suffering of the villagers. He knew that brute strength could not defeat the chief, but a sharp mind could unravel even the mightiest power. One day, Ncama appeared before the chief, bowing low with a grin that hid his cleverness. "Great chief," he declared, "I bring you a secret that will make you the wealthiest ruler in all the land." Intrigued, the chief leaned closer. Ncama whispered of a hidden cave, deep in the forest, filled with treasures beyond imagining. But there was a catch. "Only one with a pure heart may enter," Ncama warned, his eyes glinting with hidden laughter. Greedy and blinded by his lust for wealth, the chief demanded that Ncama lead him to the cave, and so they went. The chief and his guards following the nimble monkey through the twisted paths of the forest. But as they reached the cave, Ncama leapt upon a branch, laughing. "Oh, great chief, your heart is far from pure," he mocked. At that moment the ground shook, the trees groaned, and the earth swallowed the cave, leaving the chief and his guards grasping at nothing but air. Humiliated and defeated, the chief fled, and the village was free. The people cheered for Ncama, the clever monkey, who had won not with strength but with a sharp mind and a cunning plan. In African folklore, the monkey is both a trickster and a cultural hero, a creature whose mischief is often a lesson in disguise. Tales of clever monkeys are told around the fires at night, teaching the young that intelligence can overcome brute force, that courage is not just a matter of strength, and that those who rely too heavily on power are often outwitted by the smallest and smartest among them. Ncama's legend is more than just a story of a clever monkey. It is a reminder that wisdom and wit are the true treasures of the world. And so the villagers continue to speak of the day when a laughing monkey outwitted a greedy chief. His cleverness as sharp as his laughter, his wisdom hidden behind his playful eyes. In the vast grasslands of the Zulu kingdom, where the wind whispered through the tall golden grass and the sky stretched wide and endless, there roamed a creature of immense power. The sacred buffalo. Its dark, massive form moved like a shadow among the plains, its curved horns glinting like polished iron beneath the sun. To the Zulu people, this was no ordinary beast. It was Inkosana Yemfuyo, the lord of cattle, a sacred being that provided for the people yet demanded their respect. The legend tells of a time when drought plagued the land, and the rivers dried to cracked beds of dust. Hunger gnawed at the bellies of the villagers, and their herds grew thin and weak. Desperation clung to the air like smoke. In their despair, the elders gathered beneath the ancient baobab tree, whispering prayers to the spirits. That night, as the moon bathed the land in silver light, a great rumble echoed across the plains. Out of the darkness stepped the sacred buffalo, its breath a mist, its eyes glowing with a fierce, ancient light. It moved with the strength of a storm, its hooves pounding the earth, and where it walked, the grass sprang green and lush. The buffalo led the villagers to a hidden valley where clear water flowed, and the fields were thick with sweet grass. Their herds drank deeply, their strength restored, and the people rejoiced. But the sacred buffalo was not just a savior, It was a being that demanded respect. Those who grew greedy, who hunted the buffalo without need, who mocked the sacred rites, soon learned of its wrath. A young hunter, proud and arrogant, sought to slay the buffalo for glory. But as his spear flew, the buffalo turned, its dark eyes burning with fury. The earth trembled, the winds howled, and the young hunter was swept away, his cries lost to the plains. The elders reminded the villagers that strength is a gift, but it must be honored. To the Zulu and many other African tribes, the buffalo is a symbol of strength, resilience, and communal support. Its power is not just in its mighty horns or its unyielding charge, but in the way it stands as part of the herd. A protector of the weak, a guardian of the young. The buffalo is a reminder that true strength is found not in isolation but in unity, that even the mightiest beast must respect the sacred balance of the land. Rituals honoring the buffalo involve dances of strength, songs of gratitude, and offerings left at the edge of the plains. Young warriors learn that courage is not merely the will to fight, but the wisdom to protect. In the legends of the Zulu, the sacred buffalo still roams the hidden valleys, its thundering hooves a promise of abundance for those who walk in humility and reverence. Its tale is not just one of a mighty beast, but of a sacred bond between the land and its people, between strength and respect. To this day, the buffalo's shadow moves across the grasslands, a silent reminder that power without honor is a curse, but strength with wisdom is a blessing. In the land where the wide river winds through lush green fields, feeding the soil and quenching the thirst of villages, there was a time when the waters grew wild and furious. The river swelled with a dark, churning force, sweeping away crops, tearing at the banks, and threatening to drown the village that nestled along its shores. The elders whispered of a curse, a forgotten debt to the river spirits. The people gathered beneath the ancient sycamore, their faces pale with fear, their voices rising in desperate prayer. But it was not the winds or the rains that answered them. It was the river itself, parting like a dark curtain, and from its depths emerged a massive form. The water shimmered around her, and her great body glistened beneath the silver moonlight. It was Tauret, the hippopotamus goddess, her wide mouth a symbol of life and protection, her gentle eyes burning with ancient wisdom. Tauret was both a guardian and a force of nature. Her massive form could crush canoes and tear through reeds, yet she was also the protector of mothers and children, the sacred goddess who guarded life's fragile beginnings. The villagers, recognizing the divine presence, fell to their knees, begging for mercy. Tauret's voice was a deep, soothing rumble like the river in calm season. "Honor the waters that give you life," she commanded. "Respect the spirits that guard your fields and homes." From that night on, the villagers offered prayers at the river's edge, leaving gifts of grain and fruit, and the waters calmed. Tauret became their silent guardian, her shadow slipping through the mist, her great form rising whenever danger threatened. The mothers taught their children to call her name for protection, and her legend flowed like the river itself, a current of life and fertility. Yet not all protectors wear the shape of great beasts. In another village, it was a creature of dawn that kept darkness at bay. The Rooster of Dawn was no mere farm bird. It was a sacred messenger, a bird whose crow banished the darkness. The villagers spoke of a time when a great shadow lay upon the land, when the night stretched on, swallowing the sun and leaving the fields in cold silence. Crops withered and the people grew fearful, for without the dawn their world would die. But on the third night a sound broke through the gloom, a sharp, piercing crow like a blade of light. A rooster, its feathers as bright as fire, stood atop the village's highest roof. It crowed once, then again, and with each cry the darkness retreated, the stars blazed bright, and the first light of dawn pierced the sky. The villagers called it the Rooster of Dawn, a creature of vigilance and divine guidance. To this day, they paint its image on their doorways, a reminder that even the darkest night must yield to the light. As the light returned, so too did safety. But in another village, far from the river, where the fields stretched out beneath a pale sky, it was the sacred Hound who watched over the people. This was no ordinary dog. By day, it was a humble guardian playing with children sleeping in the sun. But as night fell, its eyes glowed like embers, and it prowled the village's edges, a silent sentinel. The elders whispered that it was the spirit of an ancient warrior, returned to protect the weak. One night, when a band of thieves crept towards the village, they were met with snarls and flashing fangs. They spoke of a beast that walked through shadows, its bark a thunder that echoed through their bones. Frightened, they fled, and the villagers awoke to find the sacred Hound sitting at the village center, its tail sweeping the dust, its eyes calm and watchful. In gratitude, they laid fresh meat before it, and the dog, though never tamed, remained their silent protector. But protection does not always come from strength or ferocity. In the court of a proud and arrogant king, there lived a creature of a different sort. The hare, small and clever, with bright eyes that seemed to dance with mischief. This king was a man of wealth and might, his warriors fierce, his word law, but he was also vain, convinced of his unmatched wisdom. One day, seeking amusement, the king declared a challenge. Anyone who could best him in a contest of wits would win a chest of gold. The wisest men came, the bravest warriors, but all left humiliated. Then stepped forth the hare, small and unassuming. "Great king," it declared, "I shall challenge you to a race of words." Intrigued, the king agreed, and so began the contest. The hare spun riddles like silver threads, twisted truths and tales, and with each turn, the king grew more confused, his mighty intellect tangled in the web of clever words. At last, the hare spoke the final riddle, a simple question that seemed to hang in the air. The king, for all his wisdom, could not answer, and the court erupted in laughter. The hare, with a playful bow, claimed his prize but left it behind, for his true victory was in the king's humbled pride. These are the mystical guardians and divine protectors: Tauret, the great hippopotamus who saves the helpless; the Rooster of Dawn, who banishes darkness with a cry; the sacred Hound, who guards against shadows; and the clever hare, who outwits even kings. They are a reminder that protection comes in many forms: in strength and fury, in light and wisdom, in loyalty and cunning. They are the spirits who walk among the people, seen and unseen, their stories whispered beneath the sun and the moon, their legends flowing like rivers, rising like dawn, and echoing like laughter through the ages. As the sun sets over the vast landscapes of Africa, casting its golden light across the mountains, rivers, and forests, the echoes of ancient stories still linger in the air. We have journeyed through the sacred lakes, guarded by the watchful eyes of the crocodile god, walked the endless plains where the lion's roar is a call of courage, and wandered the shadowed forests where the stealth of the leopard strikes fear and awe. We have felt the cool whisper of the serpent's wisdom, touched the strength of the buffalo, and heard the haunting laughter of the hyena that dances between chaos and guardianship. We have knelt by the river's edge, where the mighty hippopotamus goddess Tauret rises to protect her people, awakened to the crow of the Rooster of Dawn, been shielded by the silent watch of the sacred Hound, and outwitted kings alongside the clever hare. Each of these animal gods is more than just a creature of the wild. They are echoes of an ancient truth. living symbols of values, fears, hopes, and wisdom passed down through generations. But these stories are not just relics of the past. Even in our modern world of technology and cities, the wisdom of these animal gods still speaks to us. The crocodile reminds us of truth and justice, a call to integrity in a world of deception. The lion's courage and leadership inspire us to be bold, to stand for what is right. The serpent's cycle of life, death, and rebirth is a reminder that change is inevitable, that growth often requires shedding the old. The leopard's stealth is a lesson in strategy, in knowing when to act and when to remain hidden. The hyena, with its chaotic laughter, teaches us that balance lies even in the unexpected, that protection can come from the most unlikely places. The buffalo's strength is the strength of community, the reminder that we are stronger together. And the cleverness of the hare is a lesson that in a world of giants, it is often the sharp mind that prevails. These sacred stories are mirrors, reflecting truths that are as relevant today as they were in the beginning. They whisper to us that power must be guided by wisdom, that true strength is born of compassion, and that in the quiet places of the world, where the rivers flow and the forests whisper, the ancient spirits still walk. They teach us that life is a delicate balance, a dance of courage, cunning, and kindness. So if you have walked with me on this journey, if you have felt the breath of the lion, the whisper of the serpent, the laughter of the hyena, then let these stories live on. If their wisdom has touched you, if their legends have sparked wonder in your heart, then join this journey by becoming a part of our community. Share these stories, keep their wisdom alive, discover more legends, unravel more mysteries, leave a like to show your appreciation, share to spread the wisdom, and subscribe to continue exploring the sacred, the mythical, and the magical. The journey does not end here, it has only just begun.